They think you're a saint, but saints bleed too. That day, she cooked for the family, 3 plates. A full, meaty portion for herself. A respectable plate for poor Michael. A small, nearly empty plate for Paul, 1 piece of meat, half the rice, small stew. When she placed it before him, she smiled sweetly. "Eat quickly, my son," she said with syrupy poison in her voice. "You need strength to carry all that plate." Paul blinked slowly. His eyes dropped to the food, then rose to meet hers, but only for a second. "Thank you," he whispered, and began to eat slowly, chewing his thoughts more than the food. This bad act brings back the memories of how Naomi, his stepmother, looks at him one day in the kitchen. He sits down on the chair and his food on the table. After eating, he packed all the plates to the kitchen. Over the next few weeks, the tension in the house thickened. The village still praised Paul. Nothing could stop that. The market women still waved. The elders still called him to help write letters. The pastor still asked him to lead the youth fellowship prayers on Sundays. But Naomi grew colder. She stopped speaking to him entirely. She no longer allowed him to sit near her when visitors came. When they asked where Paul was, she would lie casually. "He's always out, too proud to sit with his family these days." One day, Paul returned from school and overheard her saying it to the pastor's wife. He didn't argue. He didn't confront her. He only greeted, washed his hands, and continued helping his father clean palm kernels in silence. That silence, it irritated Naomi more than words would have. Why won't this boy talk back? Why won't he fall into sin? Why won't he fail? She couldn't understand it. The calmer he became, the more her thoughts screamed. One night, Naomi couldn't sleep. She sat up, sweating despite the cool breeze. Her mind kept returning to one thought: if only he was gone. She stood, walked to the kitchen, and stared at the pot. One still held leftover yam porridge. She lit a small lamp and sat cross-legged beside it, breathing deeply. Then, she reached into the fold of her blouse and brought out a tiny white packet. She unfolded it slowly. The powder shimmered slightly under the lamplight. It was not purchased in the market. It came from a hidden hand in the next village, a woman known for cleansing troublesome spirits. Naomi had gone there weeks before, pretending it was for bad dreams. This one, the woman said, will not kill instantly. But it will weaken him slowly. Collapse. Shame. Then death. Quietly. Naomi stirred the cold yam porridge. She poured the powder in. It disappeared instantly, no smell, no trace. She covered it, placed it neatly on a small tray, and whispered, "If they love you this much, let's see if they can bury you with it." Morning came. The air smelled of smoke and dew. Naomi was unusually pleasant. She called Paul softly from the back. "Paul, eat before you go to the market today. You must not walk with an empty stomach." Paul, surprised, came to the table. A plate of warm yam porridge sat waiting. He sat down, lifted his spoon. But at that exact moment, his father's voice called from outside. "Paul, come help me shift the basket." He stood up quickly, and his hand hit the plate. The food flew off the table and splattered onto the ground. Paul gasped. "Oh, Mama's food. He ran outside to help his father, and when he returned, he found the family cat licking the spilled food. That evening, Paul returned from the market to a strange silence. The house was quiet. In the backyard, a small group stood over something. He pushed through and saw the cat, lying lifeless. Foam at its mouth. Its tongue out. Poison, someone whispered. Paul stood frozen. He looked at the empty spot where the food had spilled. His heart began to race. The villagers dispersed, muttering. Naomi stood in the corner, pretending to cry softly. But Paul's eyes never left her. For the first time, he felt a fear that touched his bones. Naomi watches him from the window. Her face hardens. Her lips don't move, but her eyes scream, "Why would the food pour?" That night, Paul has trouble sleeping. He hears whispering. A footstep outside his window. A creaking hinge. Many things began to run through his mind. The picture of the bitter look of his stepmother appears on his face. Then, he slept. In his sleep, the nightmare of his mother's sickness and death wore him a garment as he woke up terrified and confused. In the midnight, Naomi tiptoes into Paul's room holding a pillow, eyes wild. She steps quietly toward the bed. Meeting Paul, who just woke up from a scary nightmare. Immediately she asks lovely, "You were supposed to be sleeping." Paul keeps looking at her, trying to get himself from such a scary and terrified nightmare. Paul was still in shock of the nightmare as he ran out barefoot in the night, across the village compound. He bangs on the gate of an old house. An elderly woman, Mama Obi, opens it, lantern in hand. She looks at his face. She doesn't ask questions. She places bitter leaf under his tongue and says, "Your mother sent me a dream last night. I knew you would come." She opens the door as Paul enters. That night, Paul discusses all the uncertain and fake acts of his stepmother, but the old woman tells him to stop, that she knows everything. She told Paul to sleep. That night Paul slept like a baby. He was relieved of jealousy and bitter look, but still terrified by the nightmare. Naomi gently walks back into her room, pretending not to know that Paul went out in the middle night even in her presence. Rooster crows early in the morning haze over Baltiri community. Paul Michael sits outside, confused. Naomi is inside, pretending to worry, saying, "I just woke up, and Paul is missing." Paul Michael looks shaken. Naomi clasps her chest, whispering, "What if he joined those town boys? What if he ran away to Lagos?" Naomi covers up Paul's absence, manipulates Paul Michael further, and prepares her next move. Inside Mama Obi's hut, she gives Paul herbs, places kola nuts at the door, and burns incense. "Your mother came in a dream again last night. She said, 'My son will walk near death, but he will not be swallowed.' She made me know all you are passing through and she wants good for you." As he also narrated his nightmare to her, the old woman made him know his mother is telling you she's with him. That's the best way she can bring to your consciousness that she's with you in that house, the old woman says. The Mama Obi stares into a small bowl of palm oil. "Your stepmother has been killed before. In her last marriage. That's why she came here. To start again, with charm in one hand and poison in the other." Paul trembles. "Why me?" "Because light makes jealous hearts blind. With Mama Obi's help, Paul decides to return home, with protection. She gives him a tie charm for his pocket and ashes to rub under his pillow. Paul left as Mama Obi whispered sometimes, "Silence is not cowardice. It is a strategy." Paul returns. Naomi freezes. He smiles slightly. Paul comes back protected, pretending to trust Naomi while secretly preparing his evidence. "Mama, I've missed your food." She blinks, acting uncertain. Later, she makes soup. This time, she adds a yellow powder, more potent. She serves him with fake laughter. Paul smells it, but eats. Later that evening, Naomi sneaks outside to call a strange man. He should be sick by now. But her face changes when she sees Paul at the gate, standing strong. She became restless, thinking, why is he not inside already lying sick? Before sunset, drums beat. The town bell rings. A gathering forms. Mama Obi steps forward. Paul speaks softly, revealing all. He narrated the poison in the pot of soup she prepared with bitterness to everyone. The pot of soup is tested in front of elders. The soup is poured on a plate as the chickens in the community start to eat the soup. Unfortunately, the chicken dies instantly. Everyone in the gathering murmurs. Eyes turn to Naomi. The village square is filled. Elders sit in a semicircle. Drums have stopped. Silence holds everyone. Everyone is waiting for the verdict. Some look at her as she has already worn the garment of shame. Baltiri had seen quarrels, but never betrayal and this high degree of bitterness. Poor Michael sits in disbelief, looking at Naomi with regret. Paul stands beside him with great fear as someone who escaped a rock falling from the cliff. Naomi trembles as Mama Obi steps forward holding the poison-soaked soup pot. Mama Obi speaks firmly, the same hands that served food, stirred death. The village elder holds up the charm found under Paul's pillow. A woman gasps. Another shouts. I warned you about her. Naomi breaks. She drops to her knees, screaming and crying. He took everything. The love. The care. The attention. The praise. I was invisible. I was not seen. I was inferior. I was treated like nobody. Poor Michael weeps in shame. I brought this snake into my son's room. In the name of marriage, I welcomed a murderer. In the name of peace, all I did was to ignore the whispers, but I don't know the whisper is a small burning coal that was fueled by her bitterness. The elders speak. Naomi, you are banished from Baltiri. Leave before sunset. And may no other child fall by your hand. All the neighborhood stands in groups as they discuss her banishment. Whispering flies left, right and center. She is escorted out. People in the community watch in silence. A rooster crows once. They all returned home with a great disbelief of what had happened. Thinking, praying that no one should see what Paul had experienced. Back in the compound, Paul lights the hearth. Poor Michael kneels before him. Forgive me, my son. I failed you. And your mother said to me before she died that I should take good care of him. And I promise. Please, forgive me. Paul hugs him. Let's protect what Mama left behind. The hunter I called a mother has left. I'm just happy I am not dead by now. Papa Michael also hugged him tight as he began to speak. And in the ashes of betrayal, the stronger fire was lit. For evil may poison a pot, but truth always serves the final meal. Jealousy is a fire that burns its own pot.